They may have some every day, you never know. They may get 2 hours a day. We'll see. He got money. He got money. He just ain't shown it yet.
Yes, sir. Can we hear a little?
Bro, Paul.
Yeah, a little bit power.
Outlaw always had money. And it's now time for the Love Power Show with Wallace right here on AM 1600 WMM. And he always got guests. They crazy, but it's good. All of them mix in to go.
Intro
1960 music.
That's 60. 60 people except for Paul.
Exactly.
I was born in the 60s. Like the 80s.
Come on, they're pretty good. And everybody.
Y'all ready?
We're ready.
Go.
Good morning on a Sunday morning and welcome to the Love Power Show. We're going to get right to it. We need no introduction. Today we are talking about Ferguson, Missouri, what happened, and the murder of Michael Brown. And I'm looking at my first panelist. The question is, are we looking at a demonstration, Omar, of white supremacy and its ugliness? White supremacy. What we're talking about today, what happened in Ferguson, Missouri, and the murder of a young 18-year-old Michael Brown. I want to go to you first, Omar.
You know, I used to live in St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you told me.
At the time when I lived there back in the early 70s, Ferguson, Missouri was an almost all white town.
There you go.
And when I heard that it was over 60% black, I wondered how you get a white police chief and a white mayor and a city council that's primarily white, unless somebody went to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And when I heard about the young man being assassinated, like he was, I was not surprised because white America has a problem with us.
Sure.
My daughter works in a place where a lot of her customers are white, and she's giving them services, personal care services. And one of the ladies was talking about making a joke. Let's go to a friend. Let's go to Ferguson so we can do some looting and bring back some loot. And she was making an inference that this young black man had committed a crime and therefore he was murdered by the police justifiably. And my daughter got very upset because, like my daughter, my son, everybody else I've talked to, when you raise your hand saying that I give up, you surrender, then all bullets should cease.
Sure.
All aggression should cease.
That's right.
That's nothing but an assassination.
That's all.
But white folks have been like that, you know, since we came into their presence. They have slaughtered us and have refused to let us even grieve over our loved ones that they slaughtered. And if you did grieve, they punish you for grieving. So I'm not surprised.
Okay. Is this, Jabril, when you look at the screen, you see the big old John Wayne type, Matt Dillon, sunglasses, and the big military guns, and bringing the military in. Is this a show of force that means stay in your place, stay down, don't rise up?
It shows me, it tells me that this is a sign of the continuous oppression of black people in this country.
Continuous.
Continuous. I mean, it's like Brother Rudis alluded to. This didn't just start happening. This has been happening ever since we've been here. We've been here almost 500 years or longer. You know, and these things have been a part of our reality on a daily basis. You know, first of all, you know, they had the brown shirts, the red shirts, the Ku Klux Klan, all these vigilante groups, you know, which now we can label them as terrorist groups, because that's what they've been terrorizing us as long as we've been here. We've been terrorized. Every time we try to rise up and do a little something for ourselves, we're being terrorized by these people. You know, and we always spoke out about it. You know, this ain't the first time that this thing ever happened. It's been happening in Memphis, it happened in St. Louis, it happened in Chicago, it happened in Detroit, it happened everywhere, all over America where black folks live. They dropped a bomb on Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yes.
You know, they run the people out, lynched and robbed and raped and pillaged people in Greenwood.
Yes.
You know, so this ain't new to us.
Right.
It might be new to some of these white women that's been hid in the suburbs, being cheated out of information and knowledge of themselves and knowledge of us. So they can make wisecracks like that. Like I'm gonna go to St. Louis and get some new to bring it back. It's kind of old, off-the-wall remarks that always been offensive for black people. You know, but they don't know it. No, some of them don't even care when they're offending black people. You know, because they just never saw black people as part of the human family and the equality of the human family that we share, you know, in common on this planet, in the Western world, you know. So therefore, you know, I come from a whole nother kind of position of that, you know, because I know it's not new.
Yeah.
You know, so and I know that what we have to do to sever that problem, you know, that happened, that has been happening to us ever since we've been here.
Right, and we'll talk about that going forward. You mentioned Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Black Wall Street, ruin and redemption of Rosewood and Rosewood, Florida. And do not forget the situation in Philadelphia. Since that time, the movement, the Africa House, or whatever the name of that movement, do not forget that. So we're saying that this issue, this slavery issue, has not been resolved. This effects of slavery is still with us.
That's right. Yes, you is.
So,
a white domination is still among us.
Absolutely.
Everybody,
absolutely.
All black people like slaves don't even think like a slave. You know,
right, absolutely. Like no.
You know,
no.
I might think like a runaway slave, but I don't think like no slave. You know?
Right.
So therefore, you know, we a whole nother kind of people. You know, we understand the dominance of white America and the Western world here. You know, so we have to, we coexist with it. You know, we don't like it. We just coexist with it.
Right, so we find ourselves in a situation that we didn't create. It was here when we got here, and we do something about it. Is that?
Well, I mean, you know, when we come here, America wasn't America. I mean, you know, it was just land. And the Caucasian man had taken it over. He was constantly battling with the people that were indigenous people that were already here, both North America and South America, so-called. So he was studying killing people as he came in here and settled up this place for himself. You know, and brought us into, this is coincidental that we got slaughtered and brought into the whole thing, in the whole slaughter.
Right.
You know, they made us indigent, they made us slaves.
Right.
And not that by choice that we became slaves, it was that this was forced on us. We weren't slaves when we come here. You know, so we was beaten into submission to do his will, to do what the master bid for us. You know, so we had to survive some kind of way. You know, we've been surviving ever since. But that, look, it's been an insurrection. You can just, when you read the history of black man,
you see that.
You're gonna see an insurrection
From the
after insurrection as long as we've been here.
From the beginning.
Insurrection.
Right.
You know, and we're proud of those insurrections. You know, and we're gonna fight this thing tooth and nail until we leave up out of here as free people.
Continue to address the issue. I want to ask about some predictions. Paul, is this Darren Wilson is his name? The European, Euro-white police officer is his name. Is he going to jail?
You know,
That's a tough question.
That's a bitter pill to swallow, because 9 times out of 10, they've kept him closed-mouthed right now, because whatever he didn't say will be used in his favor as a defense later on, such as the fact that he never said that he didn't know that the brother had made some aggressive acts at the store before. So a good part of his defense would be that he did know that he was slowing him down. That's why they don't have him talking. But we got to recognize that when we deal with our enemy and our oppressor, that what's initially in front of us is not their goal. It's not their, see, let's be realistic. We've been dealing with this for a long period of time. And they know at a certain breaking point, we're gonna bear arms and we're gonna fight. So they have to diffuse it. The best way to diffuse it is to put out propaganda that will desensitize anybody from accepting that it's violent to kill a young black man. So their technique and their position right now is to desensitize all of us so that it will be the norm, it will be acceptable to kill a black man and not riot and not get up in arms. So right now they're trying to diffuse the situation, but they still have it in the news that we are killers. We walking around with hoods. When you're in your car and you see a group of our black boys, not men, young men, walking past you, some of us even lock the doors and make sure, because we already are conditioned to believe we're under a threat. So they are showing us right now that today they are going to effectively put in place this stand your ground law, because at the end of the day, who's going to be able to say that they can read the mind of another person, and if that person say that they're scared of a black man, or they feel threatened because the black man is aggressive, it's not because he was actually aggressive, it's because they programmed us with propaganda to be scared of our own young black men. And they desensitizing us now with Ferguson, they desensitized us with Trayvon Martin, and there's going to be some more, and later on you're going to have black brothers and sisters talking about how they scared and they locking their doors when they see a group of us walking past. So we got to see what the bigger picture is. The bigger picture is that they have a plan to kill us all because these young black men are our warriors. And if we're going to have a revolution at some point in the future, you got to kill us where we are most vulnerable, and that's our young men that's going to be warriors out there fighting. They got us in jail. The ones that come out of jail can't get arms, and then the ones that are physical enough to beat them down in a physical fight, they're killing them dead. And now they're desensitizing us, and people don't even recognize what's actually going on. So he's going to get off. Yeah, he's going to get off. But in the meantime, and don't get me wrong, I don't think he's going to just walk through it, but what's going to happen is he's going to get suspended, or he's going to get some type of disciplinary action in the workforce. But as far as him doing his job in the line of duty, they have diffused it right now because they got the U.S. Department of Justice in there, so when he gets off, they'll have everything contained. And we as black people will sit up and do the same thing over and over again, talk about what was done wrong. They'll give a foundation to the parents of this Ferguson, this brother, Mike Brown, and then they can't say anything because the foundation money, in order for them to keep it, will have stipulations that they can't talk about black-white issues. We just need to all get along. We just need to all put all of that under the water and let's be brothers and sisters, and that's what they do to us every time. But in the meantime, we always the one that's getting the brunt of the negative energy. That we're getting killed, we're getting massacred, and then at the end of the day, they throw our family some money and say, just go out there, don't talk about the black and white racism, just talk about how we all can get along. And that's the same thing that's going to happen with this Ferguson thing. I hate to say it, but you asked me for predict the future.
Right,
that's what I'm predicting.
Well, yeah, that's close to prediction, and we're going to examine this issue as we go. In terms of talking about media and what's on the screen, propaganda and the like, and the twisting and the rephrasing of words, we see masters at work. And I think that a part of the solution and examining this situation is what has to come into play is the ability to examine at the same time to pick out what is there, what is implied that has a negative. Here's the question. What is violent? Is violent going into a store, picking up some cigarillos, and sort of throwing your weight around a little bit, or is violence being shot in the back as you run away with your hands up in the air?
Let me just say
Let me go to Theo right quick.
Because this is
it's not about our violence against the police department. Because that's unheard of. I mean, how you gonna attack the police department? It's fully armed militarily. I gotta say something. Brother Baruti lived in St. Louis. I lived in the St. Louis area. I lived in U City. So you know I know Ferguson. In 1992, when I moved up to U City, my brother was living up there. You know my brother,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And what they told us was, don't go through Ferguson, man. You know, I mean, seriously. They got a white police force, and if you black, you go through Ferguson, you might not get out of Ferguson. But since I wasn't from the area, you know, I lived in U City. They saw me all the time, but you know the area, Jennings. You know the area, so you can off West Florissant. You know, so but the reality of it is that Ferguson has been like that, like I said, since the 90s.
Yeah.
That is nothing new. We got police murders, the highest number in the nation right here in Memphis, Tennessee.
That's true.
Trayvon, the Trayvon killing down in Florida.
Yeah.
All this energy was, all this emotion, because we're an emotional people. We got stirred up, and all of a sudden, you know, there's some things still going on legally with that, but our people as a whole, we've been docile about that. Now here it is, another murder, and we up and emotional again. Especially here in Memphis, talking about going to Ferguson. Let's re-energize the murders that we've had here. Let's put focus back on the police, because Ferguson police can't kill a citizen in Memphis. You know, let's see down here visiting Bill Street.
Whatever, yeah.
You know,
I'm drunk like that one you probably was too.
Right. From over in Arkansas, I remember that. But I'm not saying we shouldn't be united with Ferguson and in the other city, but Memphis got to take care of Memphis.
Sure.
You know, let's take this energy, and we got these signs saying Ferguson. Let's bring up these young brothers that the police have killed here. You know, let's take care of our own first.
Okay, Omar, will these officers, the ones who brought in the military, the ones who carried it out, and this T, whatever his name is, will they be forced to step down?
You know, the only way they're going to step down is black people have to step up.
Okay.
And what they should do is recall the mayor.
Yes.
And recall the chief of police.
Yes.
They should recall. And then they should recall every white citizen, every white person on the city council. Recall them.
Right.
And then they should have an election and start all over again, because there's no reason in a town that is majority black that you should have majority white rulership.
Right.
Something's wrong with that.
Something is wrong.
And if the police chief can bring out the military on the first day
Right.
to quell somebody who's having a peaceful demonstration, then there's something wrong with the picture. And that's on the Democratic side and the Republican side. They're talking right now in the House of Congress about demilitarizing the police department.
Right. Yeah. It's too much.
2 years ago, I went to Louisville, Kentucky to pick up some items my wife had bought off the internet, some commercial ovens. And I went, and they were coming from the Juvenile Justice Department, but I had to go to the police station and pick them up. And as I was in the police station waiting in the warehouse, I saw them bringing military trucks, military tanks, armored vehicle into the police station.
Yeah.
So I asked the warehouse manager, what are these for? He said, we got a grant from Homeland Security. I said, what do you need them for? He said, just in case a riot break out. He said, well, you know, Louisville, Kentucky is a decent sized city. You got little small towns in Georgia with 5,000 to 10,000 people getting tanks.
Tanks.
And military weapons. They're getting ready for something.
Yeah.
They prepared already.
And we are not ready for them.
That's right.
We need to have black leadership
That's right.
to go to the halls of Congress to represent us. And they need to overthrow that leadership they got in Ferguson, Missouri.
Yeah.
Okay, and speaking of black leadership in the halls of Congress, we want to thank everyone who came out to our meeting on Wednesday to take a look at the formation of the new political party that we've been talking about. And we look forward to talking to them some more going forward. But this show of force, the military, that's a show of force to take away the courage
Yes.
and kill the spirit.